Okay guys, so here it is. Here's the video of me talking about the single most crazy, strong, intense, profound experience that has ever happened to me in my entire life. So I decided I'm just gonna do this video outside, walking, to switch things up. And yeah, it's kind of raining right now, but feels nice. So before I get into this video, I want to do like a quick disclaimer. In the case that this video gets more than like 50 views or something, that I do not encourage the use of any substances. Do your own research. See what, you can make your own decisions. This video is meant for entertainment purposes and harm reduction in the case that people already are planning on doing these things. And, me showing my experience can maybe open your eyes to what's possible and what to look out for. And with all that being said, let's get right into the trip report. And also, before I forget, I know this is kind of common knowledge, but tripping itself is inexplainable. So anything I say is an attempt to describe what happened to me, maybe like 1% of it. But yeah. Okay, so it's actually starting to rain like decently hard. So I'm gonna go find some shelter and then I can talk about this. Okay, wait, no, it's actually raining way harder than I expected. I'm gonna do this shit inside, what the fuck? Yo! Okay, so I just ran a bit under these trees trying to find shelter because I really want to film this thing outside. I don't know why, I just feel like it'd be dope, but I don't know if it's like too loud for you guys to hear me, so I'm just gonna do this shit inside. Whatever, the intro's going way too long. Okay, switch of plans. I decided to just do this in my car because it's nice, calm, and peaceful. So yeah, to give some backstory to this trip report, it happened in December of 2020, right when I was finished with my finals. So there were no stressors. I had a month of winter break coming, so I had time to process whatever was going to happen to me. And yeah, I ended up this was a mushroom trip. I did about 1.75 grams of it with 3 other people and like 1 trip sitter. So yeah, the set and setting was all good. We had, my best friends I trusted with my life. We were doing it in their basement at nighttime, and that's that. Everything was going to be perfect. It wasn't supposed to be that crazy of an experience. I was kind of just wanting to see what the mushrooms were going to do to me because the times I did it previously were so hard to describe and just weird. So I just wanted to see what would happen. As usual, I set the intention to, learn more about myself. And I also set the intention to not set an intention. So just to go along with the ride. But you will soon see that that didn't really work out how I expected it to. So yeah, it was around 9 p.m. We weighed out, the mushrooms. I don't know if I said this before, but it was about 1.75 grams of them. And yeah, that's that. We consumed. And at this point, I strapped myself into a ride that I was not expecting at all and that I could never have fathomed would happen. So about 20-30 minutes goes by and I'm already feeling the complete bodily effects, the come up effects, which usually encompass things like losing like sensation in my limbs. Like I start to like feel really heavy and it was hard for me to, get up and walk around and stuff. And I started feeling it especially in my legs, as if like I was about to get shot into like the most intense trip of my entire life. I could feel it, but I didn't yet know what was coming still. So around 30-40 minutes rolls by and I'm completely incapacitated on like the side of the couch. It's like an L couch. I'm just laying on the couch and I literally can't move anymore. I'm getting so overwhelmed by just everything and I can feel it taking over my entire body and everything else around me. I remember at this point I was trying to document what was happening to me in my notes. So I'll probably put a screenshot of it in right now, but yeah, it was getting really hard to, type to do anything because my entire reality was literally dissociating right in front of my own eyes. It was unbelievable. So 45 minutes goes by and the majority of the people, the trip sitter and the 2 others, decide to go get McDonald's. I don't know how they were functioning on this dose, but to me, it was hitting unbelievably hard. So it was just me and one of my closest friends left on the couch, and he was having a very similar experience to the point where it was unbelievably intense and overwhelming to the point where we couldn't even move our own bodies. We were just sitting on the couch and just seeing what was going to happen next. And at this point, it wasn't necessarily bad. It was just so intense. Like the visuals were starting to become like to the point where it was encasing my entire visual overlay. It wasn't just like I'd focus my energy on like say a curtain and it would start to it was like my whole visual overlay was starting to, become encompassed by these geometries, that the mushrooms will show you. And at this point, about an hour has gone by and the only thing I remember saying to my friend is that this is DMT. Like this is what DMT has to feel like. It was so unbelievably intense that I knew this is like I didn't have any other words to describe it. I was literally being transported into another dimension where it felt like I was becoming meshed with the universe. I was becoming like the concept of time is the only way to describe it. So yeah, at this point I'm fully immobilized on the couch. I can't move. I'm just at the whim of whatever these things are doing to me. I've lost full control of it. And it's hard to do anything except just sit back and just be in complete awe of the dimension it's transporting me into, which was essentially just it's so hard to describe this part, guys, but it literally just felt like I could like see infinity, like look in. I need water. I knew I needed water at this point in the trip report, but here, give me a second. But yeah, it felt like I was literally looking into infinity itself and experiencing what it felt like to transcend. This was the first time out of all my trips that I've had such an experience to the point where I felt like I was no longer my body. But yeah, so this is where things start to turn south. It was already intense enough to the point where I knew I've transcended into some other space. I was immobilized. And then, guys, it happened. I got that little feeling in my stomach, and I knew that I was about to be put through the most terrible thing even fathomable in any conceivable dimension. I felt it right in my stomach right here, and I knew I fucked up. Like, this may have been the biggest mistake I ever made in my entire life. So I used the last strengths I had to get up from the couch and go to the bathroom, where I essentially gave up my soul. The next, I don't know how long it was because it felt like eternally long. But this next period was when I was, essentially getting poisoned by the mushrooms. Literally like having to give up my soul and living literal hell. So I walked my way to the bathroom. Whatever is in my stomach is literally poisoning me to the point where it feels like I'm like losing grip with reality, completely losing grip, except it wasn't even losing grip. It was like even worse than that. It felt like I was forced to stay alive even while I was dying. So it was like a painful existence. So yeah, I'm trying to yak. I'm throwing up in the bathroom. And the entire process while I'm throwing up, it's just eternal hell. Like, I'm spiraling deeper and deeper into the worst mechanisms of my mind that I never even knew were possible. I was convinced I was schizophrenic. I was convinced that this was a dose where I overdid it, even though 1.75 isn't that much for the majority of people. But I was convincing myself this was it. Like, I overdid it. I'm like schizophrenic. I've crossed the line. I finally did it. I was telling myself I finally overdid, the psychedelic exploration. So yeah, as this all was happening, I was trying to throw it up out of me, because again, it felt like it was literally poisoning my stomach. I was dying. It literally, it couldn't have been any more clear that I felt like I was dying. And while I was throwing up, it was difficult for me to breathe. Like, I was trying to like gasp for air every time I was throwing up, and it was like every time I threw up, it felt like I was purging out my soul and my life essence and everything that was inside of me. And as I was doing it, I remember when I would look into the bathroom, it was like pixie dust. Like, because the whole time, by the way, guys, my visual overlay is just encased in blurs and geometries and just the worst fathomable, like, bodily feelings you can ever even imagine times infinity. There's no other way to put it. It was just living hell. So I don't know how long this period went for in the bathroom, but all I can say is I'm so grateful that nobody came downstairs to, witness it, because it would have made it even worse, I guess. I can't even describe what would have happened to me if someone came down and was like, "Oh, are you okay?" Like, I was out. Like, that was it for me. I felt like I overdid it, and that was it. So at this point, I'm laying down in the bathroom floor, having the worst thoughts possible, thinking that, this is that, and like, I'm never going to be able to, because I couldn't talk or I couldn't do anything. The only thing that was happening was like just an intense void. I was just living in a void of the worst thoughts even conceivable. I was just living in that void and realizing that I'm never going to be able to come back, to normal life. I'm never going to be able to communicate to anyone ever again. I'm going to miss, my family members and all my friends. And I can't believe that this is happening. I truly couldn't believe it. But at the same time, I knew it was happening to me. It was the most real, horrifying thing ever. And you know how on psychedelics, time is completely distorted? Well, that period of time felt like an eternity. I don't know how, it was probably around 15, 20 minutes, but it felt like a living hell in eternity. And that's that. On top of this, the regular show was playing in the, on the TV, where my other friend was still laying in the couch. He was having just as bad as an experience as me. And the only thing I could hear from the TV was like Muscle Man saying like, "You're gonna die." And like, all I could hear from the TV guys were things about like the loops of life and death. Like, "You're gonna die. No, you're gonna stay with me. No, this is it. You're living in hell." That's all I could hear from the TV, were things that were like completely like, meshing with my experience. It was like completely like penetrating my soul. And all I could hear was things like, "There's no hope. That's it." And it was just like, oh my God. And I told my friend, I was like, we'll just use, here, wait. We're gonna cut that part out. We'll just use the name John for this. I was like, John, turn the TV off. And he just looks at me and just lays back on the couch because he was immobilized too. So yeah, after going through living hell on the bathroom floor, I convinced myself there was like a reason to keep going and that there was hope. And I realized that like love is the driving force of the universe, and that the only reason why I wanted to get up and ever live again was because I loved everyone. I loved my family. I loved all my friends. I loved everything, and I didn't want to die. I didn't want to let go. And I know a lot of people watching this would be like, that's probably why it was happening to me, because I didn't want to let go. But I mean, who wants to let go, guys? Like, I don't know. It goes really deep when you start referencing the whole letting go thing. And yeah, like midway during the bathroom part of the trip, I literally told myself, I was like, okay, you need to let go. You need to let go. But I didn't truly understand what that meant until it was happening to me. And it was impossible. I couldn't. So I was just clinging on to my body and everything I loved. And I was forced to undergo death when I didn't want to die. And at this point, I'm losing conception of, who I am and everything around me. I'm just immersed into the infinite void. There's nothing, no other words to describe it. Immersed, fully immersed. There's no more Omar. There's no more like day-to-day tasks. There's no more like, oh, did I forget to do my homework? There's none of that. Nothing. Not a single thing existed except for the void, which felt like I was eternally trapped in. So after all of this bathroom shenanigans, I got up, I went to the couch. That was the only movement I did was going up to the bathroom and getting up the couch and going, the only movements that I did during this trip was leaving up to go to the bathroom, giving my soul away and going back up to the couch. And at this point, I lay down for another 3 hours, living in this ungodly state. The state was similar to the things I've described previously, where I was just in this void. It felt like I was like, imagine like I had a cloud over my head. Like I was able to multitask everything. Like I knew that I was dead, but I also knew that like, there were slight moments where I would like jerk my body, to like reawake myself into this conscious body, but then I would fall back into like this unconscious state. And whenever I'd open my eyes, it was just a blur, a complete blur of just like stardust and geometries and just the infinite void. Then I would close my eyes again, and then I would like multitask everything. Like I'd listen to the TV. I'd know exactly what like that meant on like the most existential level possible, like what the characters were trying to say. Then I would listen to my friends and I'd hear what they were saying, and they just sounded so like clueless. I don't know how to describe it. It felt like they were just saying things like, oh, are we alive? Oh, death. Oh, existence. Oh my God, this is crazy. Oh my God, trip. And I was like, oh my goodness. It felt like I knew everything. It felt like I literally knew like their entire souls and everything about them. And again, I'm aware that this may have just been, a result of the drugs, but I'm telling you, when it happens to you, it will be the most real thing you will ever experience. And you're not going to doubt what you're, experiencing in the moment, because it's more real than this right now. So yeah, the next 3 hours, like also was still like unimaginably painful, by the way. This whole thing was like the most painful, excruciating thing ever, because I still had this feeling in my stomach and I had to get up, and let it out again. But by this point, after I came back from the bathroom and laid down on the couch, that's when like the rest of like the 3 people came over, the trip sitter and the other 2 people who were tripping. And I just couldn't make myself go to the bathroom and let it out. I don't know. I just couldn't. I just would rather suffer through it and lay down on the couch. And that's exactly what I did. I just suffered through it, convincing myself that like, okay, it's going to end soon. But, obviously the next 3 hours felt like an eternity, and it was terrible, utterly terrible. And if you're wondering what I was thinking during this next phase where I'm just laying down on the couch, it just had to do with like things like love. Like I love everyone so much, and I can't believe I'm going out like this. And like, I kind of, at a certain point, guys, I accepted it. I accepted this was like my newfound life. I had died, I had transcended, and there was no going back to this 3-dimensional reality. I just accepted it, which is why, like, although it was the most unbearable pain, even fathomable times infinity, I still had a smile on my face, guys. I don't know why, but there was a slight little bit of peace where it's like, okay, well, you got to accept it now. Like you're in it, you've done it, you're accepting it. And I just kept smiling. I don't know if anyone could notice it, around me, but I just had like this grin on my face, knowing that like, okay, well, maybe I can just accept this, my newfound life in the infinite void. And that's that. So yeah, there's probably 100,000 things that I could, detail to you guys from this trip, but I'm just going to keep it, nice and simple. So that was the trip itself. When I finally started to come down from it after in total like 4 hours, usually they go for like 5 to 7 hours, but because I threw a good amount of it up, it only went for 4 hours. I was able to get up. I moved up on the couch. The entire time, guys, I'm not moving. Like I couldn't move. The only thing I was doing was like twitching my body to like make sure I was conscious, and like this painful twitches. But anyways, I get up. At this point, it's around like 3 a.m. I believe 3 a.m. I get up, grab my phone, I click it, I see the time, I stand up, and guys, that was the best feeling. I think the best feeling I've ever had in my entire life, knowing that I'm conscious, I can walk, I can move my body, and I can think normally, and that it wasn't like permanent, irreversible damage. Luckily, there were no hidden mental illnesses that, you know, were triggered, nothing like that. I was lucky enough to make it out alive, and I just now, after looking back on it, you know, 6-7 months later, I'm realizing that I couldn't let go, and that's why that happened. And I had no clue what I was putting myself, I had no clue what I was getting myself into, guys. I had no clue. And now, after realizing this experience, after living out this experience, I've realized just how much deeper it can go. Like, I'm not this, like, my experience might be like the smallest percentage intensity compared to like someone else. Like, I'm realizing the depths of everything, guys. I've realized everything has depth, unfathomable depths to it. And I'm just grateful to be back to normal life. And yeah, ever since then, you know, I've been hesitant to trip. And I know that the reason for that was because I didn't want to let go. But like, at the same time, I just don't want to undergo such a, like, it was not going to sugarcoat it at all. This experience was traumatizing, and it was hard to keep going for the next few months. But again, grateful to have made it out. And at this point, I'm just extracting more and more positive things from it regarding like the true nature of our reality. So yeah, guys, that's that. I've made my way up to my room. I'm literally sweating because my car was burning hot and it was raining outside and I'm wet. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah. I hope this trip report was interesting to anyone watching this, and I hope that, you know, maybe you related to this if you've had a similar experience, or yeah, I really don't know what else to say. I hope this video turned out well. This is my first time detailing an experience this complex, and obviously I barely even skimmed the surface. Like most of this would only be, you know, understood if you went through the exact same thing, or just something similar. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it just like that. If you have any questions, if I missed out anything that you were hoping I touched on, leave it down below in the comments. I'm gonna get to all of them, and I hope everyone watching this enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and yeah, have a great day, everyone, and peace.